Welcome back to the channel, guys, and welcome to the BLUETTI AC200 Max. Let's address two elephants in the previous frame. Yes, I said BLUETTI. If you head on YouTube and you type in BLUETTI tech advice, there is a guy from BLUETTI saying BLUETTI. I may say BLUETTI during this video, but believe it or not, it is BLUETTI. And this is the other thing. If we want these videos to progress and the channel to grow, these are the kind of steps I'm gonna have to take. That is a new camera, I hope it shows. This is a wireless microphone. This means I haven't got to shout across the driveway to you guys, and hopefully, no matter what I do, even if I turn around and do the Macarena like this, hopefully the audio stays exactly the same. Let's take it away. So all jokes aside, thank you once again for joining me and welcome to the AC200 Max. In this week's video, I promise to keep it relevant to our niche. So if the YouTube algorithm has brought you over to this channel and this review of the AC200 Max, then the chances are we share a passion for all things off-grid, camping, trailers, trucks, camper vanning, all of that kind of thing. What I also promise to do, or not to do, is make really irrelevant tests such as running a lawnmower, running a refrigerator, straightening my hair, using a hairdryer, that kind of thing. I'm gonna keep it relevant. I'm gonna tell you all the things that you need to know. I'm gonna tell you what I like, what I don't like, and how to make full use of this, whether or not you are starting to build from scratch, or if you already have a full van set up and you want to make use of the power inside here. Let's talk charging. Now, BLUETTI do say that there's 7 options to recharge the AC200 Max, but I'm going to talk about 3 of them because they're the ones that are relevant. First and foremost, it is the 240 volt brick that you will get. That is obviously an adapter from 240 to whatever voltage this needs. That will put 411 watts into the BLUETTI. That will charge this from 0 to 100 in about 4.5 hours. Plugs that straight into the side of there. Now on this side, next to the 240 volt inlet, you have an aviation style cable. I absolutely love this. I think BLUETTI have absolutely smashed this out of the park. Let me come and show you, because it has on the end there a screwed thread. So it's 2-pin. You cannot get the orientation incorrect. You would literally spin it around until it kind of just slots in place. Now, the fact that you can actually screw that up, what that means for me and you is when you're driving, that can no longer come loose. That cannot come loose. I've seen power stations where the cables fall out of it and you get so much wasted energy because you think that you're getting solar and you're not. That is awesome. I absolutely love that. And that will go to an XT60. You get 2 options then. One is your cigarette lighter. This will bring in 90 watts, I believe, from your cigarette lighter at any one point. Now, if we're comparing that to a B2B, and we shouldn't, because it's not the same, that doesn't sound like a hell of a lot. But you cannot very well expect 25 amps or 30 amps to come out of your cigarette lighter. This is a plug and play system. We've not done any wiring, we've not done any crimping, any soldering. This is a plug and play. They probably could increase the input on that, but you'd probably melt the canvas of your vehicle. This is a plug and play option. Please do not compare this to a dedicated Victron B2B. It just doesn't make sense. It's a different product. The other option on the XT90 is MC4. I love the fact that BLUETTI have supplied MC4, so they're not holding you ransom to a silly 8mm jack port, or you don't have to buy their extension cables. You can attach this to any solar array that you want. So any array that's already on your van, for example, chances are you've bought 2 wires down and they're MC4, you can plug them into that. I absolutely love the fact that they're allowing you to do what you want, because you can put 900 watts of solar into this unit at any one point. Now, BLUETTI do the briefcase panels that are 350 watts. They are also MC4 on the other end. I've got a set in there. I'll show you them shortly. They're absolutely awesome. If this was a portable power station, I'm talking about integrating this into a van. So the chances are you've got MC4 somewhere and you can literally plug these in and your whole solar array will take over. Now, you mustn't forget that you can actually charge 240 volts and solar at the same time, up to 900 watts So that could be a collective of 1300 watts. You can push 1300 watts into this unit at any one point. Will Prowse over in America, hi mate, you are a solar genius. He's rigged his BLUETTI AC200 Max up to an array of 1300 watts. Now, as long as you don't go over the voltage, which is something silly like 154 volts, as long as you don't go over the voltage, all it will do is channel it down to 900 watts. So you can't over watt it. It will literally just throttle it down to 900 watts. He's been running his for months and it's worked absolutely fine. The only thing you need to be aware of is you literally need to go into your settings here, click between PV or the picture of the car. This shares the same input, so you would literally, you can't charge it via your car and your MPPT at the same time, or your solar array should I say. You literally need to take that out and plug that in, one or the other, or you can combine solar and 240, and that's how you charge the BLUETTI AC200 Max. Sweet. That was energy in. How are we going to get energy out? On the front here, we've simply got 4 240 volt outputs. 4. I absolutely love that. Not naming any names, but there's another power station out there that has 1. And what you're contending there with is double plugs, splitters, extension leads, that kind of thing. As long as you don't go over the 2200 watt capability, it has a surge of 4800 watts. Now, what does that mean? When you first plug something in, it will peak. There'll be a power peak. So if it was 2200 watts alone, when you plug something in, it will probably trip it. We've all heard the word trip it, or the expression. This will allow a surge of 4800 watts, which is absolutely massive. 4 outlets, as long as you don't exceed that capability, you can be using 4 items at once. Or you could have 4 really powerful items plugged in constantly and use them one at a time. I know that sounds stupid, but when a power station's only got 1 output, you would literally be taking 1 out, putting 1 in. With this, you could have a kettle plugged in over there, an induction hob over there, and then select from 1 to 1. I know that sounds petty, but that, I believe, is absolutely awesome. And every output comes with a dust cover. I wouldn't go as far as saying waterproof, splash proof, yes, but dust proof, obviously, in van life is absolutely vital. We also then have 4 USB-A's on the front. 2 of them are going to be a fast charger, and then we have a USB-C. Absolutely love that. We also then have this fit in here, which I don't know what that is. I'm going to be honest with you. We're not going to use that over here in the UK. 10 amp cigarette lighter, plug that in, use a single appliance. This is the VANLIFE output. That's what I'm calling it. It's the VANLIFE output. You will need to purchase a lead totally separate. I'm going to put the link below to that. I'll put a picture of this lead up here. I think it's called the RV cable. It has the same aviation style connection as the input on the MPPT. Once again, once that's plugged in, it cannot come out. I absolutely love that. And that goes to an XT60, once again, like that. And then that will lead to a power pole. So you'll click that in there and that will lead to a power pole. I'm going to show you how to integrate this shortly, but all you need to know is that will give you on an output 30 amp regulated. That will run a whole van. Believe me, you are not going to need any more than that, and that is a constant regulated 30 amp. I'm calling that the VANLIFE's lead. This, if you're going to use this for the same purpose that I am, make sure you don't forget this lead. Most importantly, and this is the bit that none of the other YouTubers ever mention, how are you going to use it? So they all sit there and they plug stuff in and they say, yeah, it's great, you can power this, you can power that, it runs for this amount of time, but no one actually says how you're going to make use of that energy. Now, there are a couple of options. Now, one of them is quite simply charge it up before you leave, put it in the corner of your van and use it as a backup power supply. Now, what you could do from that is charge up all of your power hungry devices that your van can't quite take care of. So for example, this van that I'm sat in here has actually only got a power supply of 100 amp hours. I have all kinds of different ways of charging it, which is absolutely fine. There's more in this box than there is in my whole van build. It's absolutely crazy. Now, what I mean by that is, and the relevance there is, my van can take care of my van. It will run the fridge, it will run the fans. I didn't quite allow for all of this. I didn't allow for all the cameras. I didn't allow for this camera, my 2 GoPros, my drone, my gimbal, all of these extra appliances that I keep plugging in, they all add up. Now you can use this, just sit it in the corner and charge all of your power hungry devices. You could even charge an e-bike if you needed to. You can simply use it for what it is, and that is a standalone, sit it in the corner and away you go. Absolutely great. But what if you were gonna run a van off of it? People say you can. All the YouTubers say you could run a van off this. I just did a minute ago. How? And I'm gonna show you how. 2 options that I see. One, you can literally, that RV cable that I mentioned before, split that Anderson there, that is like an Anderson power pole, positive and ground, and literally take it straight to that fuse board. Chances are in your 12 volt setup, you've got a fuse board like this, ground, positive, split that, plug that straight in. Your BLUETTI is now running a whole van, and all you'd do for your 240 devices is plug straight in, or maybe use an extension cable if you need the location of a 240 outlet to be somewhere else. Absolutely fine. What if you've already got a setup? What if you've already got a setup, but the battery supply is a little bit on the low side, that kind of thing, and you want to increase it, or you want the option to increase it if you ever needed to. If you spent a whole weekend in one spot, you're not driving the van, the sun isn't out, like it never is in the UK apart from at the current time, and you want to bolster your supply. 2 more options. One being a little bit intrusive, the other being a total hack. So, like I said, hopefully you got one of these in your van somewhere. All you would need to do is cut these 2 wires. So you're gonna basically intercept the ground and the positive that go to your fuse board. You're then gonna choose whatever style fitting you like, so whether or not you wanna use an XT fitting or an Anderson fitting or a power pole, however you decide to, you're basically gonna put a male on that end and a female on that end and give yourself the ability to plug it straight back in. So at this stage, you've cut it and rejoined it. You then, when you need to, disconnect that wire and connect this wire. You would put the chosen selected fitting on the end of there, if that makes sense, and plug that in. Your BLUETTI power station has now taken over your whole van and totally negated the flat rubbish battery that your van might have. Absolutely awesome. So when people say you can use this alongside a van and things like that, if your battery died in your van, your AGM battery, how do you then recharge your fridge? How do you then repower a fridge or your Max fan? All the wires are so deeply hidden, you can't access them. So yeah, you could charge your torches and charge your phone and your tablets and things like that. If your van's battery died or your hab area battery died, you could basically hack straight into that, or have the ability to take over the fuse board. Now, dropping down on a less intrusive, simpler version than that, trick your van into thinking it's on a 240 setup. So if your van has a smart charger, so when you get home from a camping trip, do you plug into the wall and charge your batteries up to 100% via a smart charger? Basically, usually just plugging straight into your van, somewhere in there you've got a smart charger. Use this as a mains power supply. Trick your van into thinking that you plugged it into the wall. I did it to this van as a test. It works absolutely fine. I had the solar panel set up, the briefcase style. I had 350 watts coming in. I then ran the lead from the BLUETTI into the van, and I checked it on my app. It was taking 350 watts in and giving 600 watts out. So that means tick another box. It allows pass-through charging, so you can charge it and use the energy at the same time. Absolutely great. An absolute non-intrusive hack. Keep this with you. If your battery dies, plug it in. Yes, there will be an energy loss. I appreciate that. It's not the best way to do things because you're taking 12 volts, or it's actually 50 volts, turning it into 240 and then going through a charger. I fully appreciate that, but it is simple. Who is this BLUETTI power station for? It's for absolutely everyone. If you're starting a new build, of course you can use this. And if you think that 2048 watt hours isn't enough, good news, it's expandable. Absolutely awesome. You literally buy another pack. You get one cable that fits into the side of there, fits into the pack. You can double the capacity. Actually, you can triple it. Forget that, you can quadruple it. I think you can go up to 8,954 watt hours. That's absolutely huge. So literally, if you decide to choose one of these, you realize it's not quite enough, get another power bank, and it would still be cheaper than your conventional independent separate items building a power pack together. Now, it's not the smallest thing in the world, don't get me wrong. You're not carrying that in your handbag down the beach to power your Bluetooth speaker. They do littler versions. They do power banks right down, shrink. Consider what is in that box and tell me that it's big or heavy. That is the similar weight to one 100 amp hour AGM battery, and in there you have got the equivalent to 200 amp hours of lithium. You've got a 2200 watt inverter. An inverter alone, weight and physical size, is probably about the same as that. They're just usually a little bit longer. Consider that all of that, there's an MPPT in there, there's all of the gubbins, that's a professional word, that make it work, all the screen, all of the display. I've not even mentioned the fact that it's got 2 of the contactless chargers that you just put your phone on the top and it just starts charging. Honestly, there is so much in that box for the weight and the size and the price. I don't think you can go wrong. I think I might have went on a bit of a ramble. I have calmed myself down. So van builders, yes, if you are starting a DIY van build or even a professional build from scratch, this is definitely an option. It's expandable, the amount of stuff that's in there, it's simple, plug and play, easy to use, absolutely great. Another example in the van world of people this might be aimed at are transporter owners. Now, I don't mean to single you guys out, but I went to Camper Jam the other day, and on the Sunday morning, the amount of engines that were running was absolutely crazy. Now, I can only imagine that they were trying to replenish their hab area battery, their leisure batteries from their vehicle batteries. I know for a fact, when people design vans like this, they go a bit crazy with the battery supplies. They assume that they're gonna have fridges and heaters and things like that. Transporters, as far as I'm aware, usually, and I don't mean to be stereotypical, they usually have like 100 amp hours of AGM battery with an old school split charge relay. And then we have all these devices and the kids bring their iPads and you have TVs running and things like that, and it's just not enough. You can either replenish your leisure battery via this or literally use it for the power hungry devices. That's absolutely great. And the other people are the coach built. So the motorhomes that have got the intricacies of the wiring that you just wouldn't go near. My buddy Chris Sloan's, go check him out. Absolutely awesome channel. He has a Grand Cali, absolutely lovely bit of kit, but the electrical system is driving him crazy. Things are turning off, can't charge it when he wants to, and he won't mind me saying this because he is his own biggest critic when it comes to his vehicle. He won't mind me saying it. Check this thumbnail out. He would make perfect use of this. That would make sure that no camping trip was ever brought to an abrupt end because his electrical system has let him down. And on the flip side, I wouldn't want to go anywhere near his electrical system. It's all integrated to the CAN bus and things like that. So people with coach built Heimers, motorhomes, if it comes with like a switch panel that is all built in one, stay way away and just keep one of them with you. And the beauty of that, if you ever changed your vehicle, you take it with you and you haven't molested or cut any part of the van. Absolutely cracking. At this stage, I should probably turn it on and cycle through loads of settings and get really, really boring and technical. I'm not going to. I don't think I need to. It is so simple that there aren't parameters in there that you need to set up. There's 2 things that you need to do, and that's select when you want your AC and your DC, and you would literally turn it on and it says AC on, DC off, DC off. Simple as. The only tip I'd give you is don't leave the AC on because the inverter costs you energy just to have it on. So for the sake of the inverter being on, it will chew away at your battery supply. I didn't find that it did that much with the DC. I've left the DC on now for a couple of days and it didn't really seem to make a difference. But the AC inverter will cost you energy to have that on. And then the only other thing to let you know is if you scan the QR code on the back of the unit and download the app, that will automatically set up your BLUETTI to your phone and you can control AC on, DC on, and likewise off and on via your phone. It will monitor the whole situation, let you know what percentage you've got. It is so simple. I'm not going to bore you with flicking through settings. It's very, very simple. And then the only other thing you need to do is select between the PV and the cigarette lighter, which is the picture of the battery, and that's it. It's plug and play, guys. You literally plug it in and that is the beauty. You don't need to be a van builder. I very almost missed the opportunity to say that is the beauty of the BLUETTI. Roll the tape. You don't need to be a van builder. You just need to plug stuff in. Absolutely cracking. Check it all out in the links. Thanks for watching. Join me again.